Bill, there are two philosophical arguments and two scientific arguments in defense of premise two, namely that the universe began to exist. Give me a couple of the philosophical arguments.
The first philosophical argument is based upon the impossibility of the existence of an actually infinite number of things. Now, what do we mean by actually infinite? Well, here mathematicians distinguish between a potential infinite and an actual infinite. A potential infinite is a collection that is growing toward infinity, but it never gets there. By contrast, an actual infinite is a completed infinite. It is actually infinite. It's already complete. Now, if the past never had a beginning, then there has been an actually infinite number of events prior to today. But mathematicians recognize that the idea of an actually infinite number of things leads to various absurdities. For example, what is infinity minus infinity? Well, mathematically, you get self-contradictory answers. This shows that infinity is just an idea in your mind, not something that exists in reality. Therefore, since past events are not just ideas in your mind, but are real, the number of past events must be finite, and therefore the universe began to exist. The second philosophical argument is based upon the impossibility of forming an actually infinite collection by adding one member after another. This is sometimes called the impossibility of counting to infinity. You can never count to infinity because you can always add one more before you get there. But if you can't count to infinity, how could you count down from infinity? This is equally absurd. To illustrate, imagine two planets that have been orbiting the sun, and one goes twice as fast as the other. The longer they orbit, the greater the disparity between the number of orbits goes. 2 to 1, 4 to 2, 8 to 4, etc., etc. In fact, the longer they orbit, the greater the disparity would grow and would eventually approach infinity. But now turn it around and let's imagine they have been orbiting from eternity past. Which one has completed the most orbits? Well, the mathematical answer is they're equal. The number is just infinity. But that seems absurd. The longer they orbit, the greater the disparity between them grows. So how can the number now magically be equal just because they've been orbiting from infinity past? These sorts of absurdities go to illustrate the point that the past cannot be infinite, that it must be finite, and therefore the universe began to exist.